We don't have that much time. Let's jump into the subject. Calorie deficit. A calorie deficit in sports is when your body burns more calories than usual. This usually means you burn more calories than you eat. A calorie deficit is important for those who want to lose weight, because the body uses existing fat stores to spend energy. There are several ways to create a calorie deficit. You can create a calorie deficit by reducing your daily calorie intake. Consuming low-calorie foods and keeping portions under control can facilitate this process. You can burn additional calories by doing physical activity. Cardio exercises, swimming, cycling, and resistance training, weightlifting, can help in this process. You can increase calorie burning by increasing your daily activities. For example, taking the stairs instead of using elevator or walking to work. However, creating too large a calorie deficit can negatively impact your health. Eating too few calories can slow your metabolism and cause muscle loss. In fact, it does not cause complete muscle loss. I explained this in the last sections. Therefore, it is important to take a balanced approach when creating a calorie deficit. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and a healthy lifestyle are sustainable and healthy ways to create a calorie deficit. Diet. There are 3 types of nutrients as basic macronutrients: fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. In a balanced diet, all 3 macronutrient sources should be used in a balanced way. The method I will recommend now will only be a hard process of 3 to 4 weeks. I'm sharing this information because summer is approaching. Your diet should contain low levels of fat, say 20 to 30 grams. Normally, the body tends to store fat and will try to retain it. So a period of 3 to 4 weeks will be sufficient for your body if you do not have a health problem. Since our main focus is to burn fat, we will need to keep carbohydrate consumption low in this process. For example, you can continue your low carbohydrate intake by reducing it to 100 grams in the first week, 50 grams in the second week, and then 0 grams. I recommend that you only consume carbohydrates before training. Finally, when it comes to protein. In terms of protein, I recommend you take 3 times your weight in protein, because in this process, you will need a lot of amino acids and proteins, and I especially recommend you to buy animal protein. Since we consume less carbohydrates and more protein in this process, you should also increase your water consumption. If you have health problems such as kidney or liver, I recommend you consult a doctor and manage your diet. Cardio. The most important part of this 3 to 4 week period is cardio. You need to do your cardio at a low tempo, but at a level where you cannot talk to the person next to you. For example, I recommend that you cycle or walk on an incline for 1.5 hours a day. If you do cardio in the morning on an empty stomach, it will give you more effective results. Finally, you should definitely not jog because running uses glycogen stores in your body rather than fat. Weight training. I have to be honest, your weight training is going to be crap. It is very difficult for protein to biochemically convert into fat. Since fat and carbohydrates will be low during this period, taking protein as a high-calorie macro is the safest macro source for weight training and daytime. You will not experience muscle loss during this period. This loss will generally be a shrinkage due to water loss, glycogen loss, or salt loss from the muscle. Supplementary products. As a supplementary product, you can use caffeine and green tea in the morning before cardio and before training. I usually drink maximum 150 milligrams of caffeine, but my recommendation is about 100 milligrams to take. Salt intake. Since we consume small amounts of food, you should be careful about salt consumption. Otherwise, you may experience cramps. If you are experiencing cramps, you should increase your salt consumption slightly. As electrolytes, you can take minerals such as magnesium, ZMA, or potassium. Genetics. Finally, genetics is unfortunately a very big factor in our body. While it is genetically very easy for some people to burn fat, it may be very difficult for you. That's why you should continue the process without comparing yourself to others. If you still feel oily after 3 to 4 weeks of diet and training, it may be water. If not, you can increase your fat intake to the amount of your weight, your carbohydrate intake to be 150 to 200 grams, and your protein intake to be 2.2 times your weight. And you should continue to support it with plenty of cardio.